We all came out of Gogol's overcoat. One day you will understand.
I never thought I would be making this video under these circumstances. There is not much I can say about how great an actor Irrfan Khan was. All I can do now is study his genius. Now, if you remember Piku, it was really well received, especially for the performances of Amitabh Bachchan and Deepika Padukone. Sometimes I feel like Irfan did his job so effortlessly that we forgot that he was not that character and that he was putting all his energies into being that. I'll disagree with you if you believe that Amitabh Bachchan played a great Bengali man. It could have something to do with his bodysuit, his obnoxiously unrealistic wig, or his unsatisfactory accent. But something was not quite right about it. Perhaps I expected too much from the Big B, because that man standing next to him had already mastered the art of being a Bengali uncle. Let's go into stereotypes for a second. There are two types of Bengali uncles you might encounter in your lifetime. The first is the loudmouth, live life to the fullest kind, and the second is the reserved, quiet type whose emotions don't betray him. Out of the two, playing the quiet variety is much harder for the simple reason that a large amount of emotional information has to be relayed with the utmost subtlety. As an actor, Irfan knew that the key to this subtlety is through body language. Let's have a look at his character Ashok in The Namesake. In a character's journey, his or her body language changes over time due to factors like habits, their physical ailments, and their emotional baggage. Let's break it down from the start. In the very first scene of the film, we see Ashok as a small, shrunken man, not because of his size, but his demeanor. He is humble with curiosity in his eyes, a slight spring in his step, even though he seems shy. His eyes light up when the man on the train tells him to explore the world. He doesn't agree with the idea, but he is definitely intrigued by it. This intrigue translates to a full blown life purpose after the train leaves Ashok injured, and we find out in a succeeding scene that he is settled in the USA. He has come to meet Ashima, a prospective bride. In this scene, Ashok doesn't have a single dialogue, being the shy boy he is, but his interest in Ashima is easily conveyed. As Ashima walks in and touches the feet of the elders, Ashok tries to catch a quick glimpse of her, but he looks away just as discreetly in fear of getting caught. As his father starts talking about the perils of living abroad to the beautiful prospective bride, Ashok's face grows pale. He feels that Ashima will refuse him at the prospect of living abroad. But soon his face regains its color and a controlled smirk escapes him as he discovers that the cheeky woman before him has agreed to be his bride. As we get to know Ashok more and more as a young man, we can see that though there is humility in his posture, his back is always straight. When he speaks, his arms move frailly, unimposingly, in true Bengali Bhadralok style. This posture remains throughout his younger years when his children are still little. We also know that he smokes, which will eventually be relevant. Flash forward a decade or so later, and Ashok has visibly aged. The first thing we realize is that his back is noticeably bent. His stomach is slowly starting to show, which is making him slouch ever so slightly. When he goes to Gogol's room to give him a graduation present, he seems nervous. At a time like this, in true Bengali uncle fashion, he tries to relax his arms, but the licking of his lips gives away his nervousness. The licking of his upper lip has replaced the gulp from his younger years, as smoking has resulted in lips that dry up faster, especially in high stress situations. There is great stress between him and his son, hence, his posture is more guarded and reserved, though he is trying to be cool and open up at the same time. Moving forward in this iconic scene where he is walking with Ashima down gardens of Victoria Memorial, and Ashima says this.
You want me to say, I love you, like the Americans?
This is the first time we see him really smile with all his teeth, his hands in front of him, his fingers touching delicately as if protecting him from his own vulnerability. In this succeeding scene, we notice that he has developed bow legs, and the specific limp he walks with is a sign of knee problems. His body is slowly deteriorating. In this next important scene, Gogol tells his father that he has decided to change his name to Nikhil. Ashima tries to dissuade her son, but Ashok knows that his mind is made up and resistance will only push him further away. But Ashok can't help expressing how upset he is.
America. Do as you wish.
He picks up his cigarettes and sticks his tongue in his cheek as he steps out. A discomfort in his mouth from something he wanted to say but didn't. At this point, when the shot is taken from behind him, his face is in the dark, his back is more bent than ever, and he is smoking, anxious and upset about his son's decision. The next important event happens a few years later when Nikhil is much older, has a dream job and a white girlfriend whom his parents don't approve of. But they welcome her to their house as warmly as they can. When we see Ashok now in his final Bengali uncle form with the clothes and everything, he looks frailer than ever before. In spite of being instructed not to, Maxine, Nikhil's girlfriend, gives Ashok a kiss on the cheek. Ashok is shocked by this sudden show of human contact. His body jitters slightly and he licks his lips before looking up at his family, which has witnessed the embarrassing ordeal. After an awkward lunch, Ashok asks Nikhil to go with him to get some ice cream. Maxine offers to go with them, but Ashok says,
Why don't you stay here and keep Nikhil's mother company? We'll be back in no time.
He raises his voice rather alarmingly because he's really trying to be persuasive, and when a quiet man raises his voice, people take notice. Ashok becomes truly vulnerable for the first time in the film in the next scene when he tells his son about the night of the train accident and how Nikolai Gogol shaped his life. Here, all we notice are his eyes which do all the talking. Now we come to one of the most critical and well-acted scenes in the film. Ashok has moved to Cleveland after setting up the house for Ashima and having a heart-to-heart with his son. One day, Ashima gets a call from Ashok. Ashok seems sweaty and tense. Though his personality doesn't easily betray his pain, he licks his lip again, nervously as he lies to Ashima about having stomach issues. When Ashima sounds worried, Ashok pulls himself together for a moment and says,
Ashima, don't worry. It is nothing.
We don't realize at this very moment, but the fact is, Ashok is telling Ashima the name of the hospital because he anticipates something to go wrong. Of course, soon after this, Ashima experiences the intense pain of losing her husband. After this point, we live Ashok's life mainly through the memories of Gogol and sometimes Ashima. One of the final memories that we see is Gogol's memory of his father leaving his room after giving him the overcoat as a graduation gift. That moment, which earlier seemed like an awkward encounter to Gogol, now comes back to him like a beautiful memory. And our memories are often rosier than reality. Irrfan Khan's performance in this film captures the beauty of the middle-class Bengali man trying to earn and trying to keep his family together. At the same time, he creates the perfect character to be remembered when being nostalgic about times gone by.
We just have to remember it then. Huh?
Will you remember this day, Gogol?
How long do I have to remember it?
Remember it always. Remember that you and I made this journey and went together to a place where there was nowhere left to go.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Of course, we are all pretty upset about the passing of Irrfan Khan, but I hope this video throws a little bit of light into the details and nuances of his acting skills, and we can appreciate him more and more. Even though he's gone, his work will always live on. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.